Now that we are happy with the blocking results, we can start joining some meshes to give the better details. As we're not going to work with the legs, we can delete them. But if you want my advice, always make studies for body parts, individually and as it alls, with proportions and things like that. I have a lot of studies for mouth, legs, hands, eyes, ears, etc. The same way it's important to understand the proportion for the whole body, it's important to learn how each part is built separately. Alright? Not everything we do need to be a piece for a portfolio or art station. Remember that. We can make some studies and that can help us to understand body, anatomy, and everything. So, how can we join those pieces? Let's select all the pieces we want to join. The rib cage, shoulder, the muscles, hips, neck, and if we move, we can see that some parts are weird. It's going all over the place. That's happened because we have the mirror modifier on it. To apply other modifiers on the mesh that we have selected, we can press right click, converts to mesh. We are converting a mesh to a mesh, but applies all modifiers that mesh has. To join, we can use Ctrl J as a shortcut, and if we go in the edit mode for it, you can see that our pieces are joined. Let's go to the sculpt mode and we're gonna remesh it. Choose a high resolution so we can not lose a lot of volume and apply the remesh. We can see that our meshes has some different colors. That's our face sets. We can turn off the face sets on the overlay properties, clicking on drop down menu and turn off the face sets. We're gonna need to have a high resolution so we can sculpt some details on the mesh. But we won't use the remesh, we're gonna use the DIN-topo. Why is that? Let me open a new blend file so I can show you what the DIN-topo does. DIN-topo stands for Dynamic Topology, which allows us to add or remove details while sculpting according to how close you are to the mesh. So, if we get real close to the mesh, it will get more details to the topology. If we click on the arrow for the DIN-topo, we can define how dense the mesh is going to be. Lower the number in pixels, more dense the mesh is going to be. It starts with 12 pixels, but I like to make 7 pixels for medium details and 4 pixels for really small details on the face, for example. The difference between DIN-topo and the remesh is the DIN-topo only adds resolution where we need it, while the remesh is going to add the same resolution for all the surface of the object. Like right now, I remesh it. Now I'm gonna turn off the DIN-topo, gonna make the pixels low, and we sculpt it, and you can see that we adding and removing resolution according how close or far the camera is. So let's go back to our main file. Alright, let's turn on the DIN-topo and let's make the resolution pixels like, I don't know, 7. Oh no, let's make it 9. And we're gonna use the DIN-topo to get rid of this weird artifact that the joining causes between the meshes. We're gonna use the clay strips and we're going to start to remove these weird seams and caving here using the smooth brush. I'm gonna do a little remesh with right resolution. With a higher resolution so we can do not lose a lot. So Let's sculpt trying to maintain the form that we already have. We're gonna clean some of these weird seams, but we don't want to lose the volume. For the back, let's cave a little in the middle. Let's add the scapula, and we want just to define it, what the thing is going to be. We're not giving any details or anything right now, just to mark and define it. Okay, let's continue to draw the scapula and the back. Let's get rid of this hash transition, cave a little in the middle between the clavicles. Let's reinforce the clavicle shape and smooth it. Cave a little here, smooth a little. Nothing too rash, just to get rid of the seams. Let's move this part. Use the grab tool to maintain the silhouette. Let's make the transition between the trapezium and the shoulder smoother, and the shoulder and the rib cage too. We will join the arm to the body later, so don't worry about it. Let's use the clay strips so we can build the muscles and the breast muscles, and use the crease brush so we can define between the deltoid and the breast muscles. Let's move this, the top part of the breast, because we don't want any of these weird seams that we have. Let's use the grab tool to define more the trapezium and the shoulder muscle, the deltoid. And I think we need to get the shoulders a little larger than we are right now. Bring the arms a little far to each other, I guess. And smoothing the mesh. Alright. Let's cave the middle of the back. Let's use the extended brush, holding Ctrl to cave in, and release the control so we can build some parts on the middle too. Define a little of the back muscles and still smoothing everything. Define some muscles. Define some volumes. Let's cave a little of the butt. And add a little of volume to the dorsal muscle. Yeah, I think that's working for the back. We are now going to move the arms a little to outside in the edge mode. Rotate a little and moving so we can have more space to work on the torso. Let's move the deltoid so we can follow the arm. And refining the main silhouette. The clavicles and trapezium are really important for the shape and the silhouette. Now let's go back to the clay strips. So getting rid of the seams like we started doing. Build a little of the breast muscles. Cave a little under the armpit. Always looking forward to get rid of this weird not smooth meshes and building some muscles under the skin. We are not going to make a physically correct breast because in the reference she's wearing a blouse, so the breast inside the blouse isn't falling like she was naked. So we are going to build the breasts for the inside blouse, not a realistic falling breasts, not a drop shaped breast, but more round on the top breast, you know. That's what we're looking for. Still, just build up some volumes to the body. Let's start to make the belly and defining the stomach muscles. Let's build a little of the ribs. The ribs shape and the diaphragm here. Let's start to build the abdominal shapes, abdominal muscles. Getting rid of this not smooth mesh. Defining a little of the muscles here. I'm just defining this to smooth that out later. It's not going to be that defined muscles, you know. I just need to know where things should be. Draw with the clay strips and smooth it. Adding some rib bones yet, and for the hips, the bones on the pelvis. Let's build some fat that we have on the waist and bring it to the stomach, to the belly. Always building some muscles and some fat and some bones that usually stick out. Let's use the clay strips to build some of the buttocks muscle and fat and smooth that out. Alright, I think that's working real good. I like what we have here. Let's use the crease brush so we can crease under the breast a little. Always smoothing, always keeping the shape smooth and give a real nice flow. Now let's select the arm. We won't need the hand, so we can delete it. We select the arm and enter in the edit mode for everything and move outside a little. Rotate and move so we can make it in the right place for the deltoids. Let's go back to object mode. Right click, convert to mesh so we can apply the modifiers. Let's go to the sculpting mode and define a good resolution and remesh it. Let's start to tweak the arm so we have better proportions for it. Let's bring the deltoid muscle a little down. And for the arm, let's start to build the muscles. Let's use the clay strip so we can have the biceps. Oh, okay. Let's Ctrl Z this because the clay strips bring the back face too. We don't want that. Let's use the standard. And let's use the sharp to draw the muscles that we want to define. Now we're drawing around the biceps. We will smooth that out later, don't worry about. Let's draw around the triceps. And let's draw around the elbow so we can define it. The elbow usually is a little higher than the front part of the arm. Alright. The biceps usually goes a little into the forearm, and the forearm muscles go a little up in the arm. Let's turn on the dunk topo and start to sculpt with the clay strips. If the clay strips act weird, we can fix that too. Let's build up the triceps. Don't worry about that, we'll smooth it out later. You only define the volume for it. And it's moving. Bring a little of the triceps back. We can see the triceps from the front too. Let's cave a little for the forearm and build up the forearm muscles. Okay, that happened here. We can turn on the front face only in the clay strips brush settings, and that won't happen anymore. We are just building up some volume and smoothing so we don't have anything that's defined or real big muscles. We don't want that. But everybody have muscles and we need to build that under the skin. Let's define the elbow again. Let's see if it's on the right place. It's not, and it's really big. Let's move this part of the mesh. Yeah, that's better. Let's move the arm too, and use the grab brush so we can define better the silhouette. And the volumes. Bringing the biceps a little to the forearm and the elbow a little to the arm. Let's turn off the topo and make a remesh with a right resolution so we can have a clean mesh, kind of clean mesh, but a uniform mesh. Let's draw the elbow again so we can see if the elbow is in the right place. And bring a little of the forearm bone that we can see on the back of the arm. Okay, I think that's good. Again there. Just defining the main volumes here. And that's it. We already have the body sculpted. It doesn't have any detail. We're gonna add the details later, but it's working right now. And in the next class we're gonna start to head and face features sculpting. Okay, see you next class.